Hello, and thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it today. I wanted to talk to you basically about my own story, my VA story, my path essentially from 0 to 100% permanent and total. And, I hope that there's some value in it, right? We learn from each other. We learn from our own mistakes. We learn from others' mistakes. So I'm just going to kind of share with you my process through it. It's not going to be exact, but it'll be close enough, I guess, for this video, just because I don't really remember a lot of it, but I'll do the best I can. And then I'll also actually share some of the I wish I would have's, and maybe what I would have done differently if I had to do over again. So with that, please hit the thumbs up for me, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. Just helps to share the information. So my path to 100% permanent and total with the VA was grueling. So we'll start off with the fact that I served two different time periods. I had two different enlistments, one with the Marine Corps and then also one with the Army National Guard. So I got my two shadow boxes for that, right? So first active duty was Marine Corps, and I joined in 93 and did 4 years, got out in 97. And then I had a 12-year break in service. That was horrendous. To come back in and kind of dust yourself off. Didn't take too long, but still, it was a bit of a change, right? So getting back into it with the Army National Guard, and then I was with the Guard for another 6 years after that 12-year break in service. So with that, let's get into the story. So in my Marine Corps time, for both actually, the Army National Guard and Marine Corps, I was mortars the whole time, except for in the Marine Corps, I kind of shot off and did machine guns for about 3 months, and then I came back to mortars. So 81 millimeter mortars only in the Marine Corps with that little snippet of machine gun time. And then in the Army National Guard, I had 81 millimeter and 120 millimeter mortars that we did there. So in the Marine Corps, when I joined the Marine Corps, I think it was 19, just turned 19. And toward the tail end, probably about 3 years in of my 4-year enlistment, we did a lot of force marching, with the barrel and, base plate, bipod, rounds or the containers filled with sand, that type of stuff. I ended up hurting my back, right? So in the 90s, they didn't send us to what we now call physical therapy. What they called it was back school. So I went to back school in the Marine Corps, and I was, Vicodin and Percocet and all that good stuff for I don't remember, a couple weeks, 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, to get it to subside. It was so bad that I had to brace my knees, and I still do, brace my knees against the sink when I'm brushing my teeth, because my back would just kind of give out, my knees would shake. So movement, really, light movement, obviously not, hauling things around, but light movement is what really kind of keeps me feeling good. Staying steady, staying in one place too long, sitting too long, laying too long, all those things kind of suck, and it starts to seize up on me and hurt more. So long story short, I'm preaching to the choir, right? Everybody's got these issues. But for this story, right, so now I have this back issue that's kind of lingering. The big thrust of it I was able to get past and still able to do all my jobs in the Marine Corps and all that good stuff. And ended up getting out. And I can't remember who told me or how I found out about the VA, but somebody did and told me that I needed to, that we should file a claim. And I honestly can't remember if it was in the Marine Corps when I did it or right when I got out or how that happened. But the bottom line is I filed a claim with the VA. The two things I filed for in 97 were back issues and heartburn. That was it. So I filed those two things, and I don't really know anything about it. I don't even think that I knew that there was any sort of monetary compensation. I thought it was mainly just kind of medical stuff, right? So you can get seen for your back. That stuff would be free or whatever. And I remember driving, an hour and a half or so to go to the VA for my, now that I know, a C&P exam, met with the doctor there, whatever. So off I go, do that, come back, wait a few months, and it processed fairly quickly, and I got a letter in the mail and opened it up, and, official, it's from the VA, and open it up and start reading it, and it basically just said, hey, yeah, your back issues, of which I went to back school, I was on prescription medication, and it still bothers me, right? Were denied. Not service connected, and my heartburn, right? Not service connected. Okay. Well, forget it then. I pretty much stopped reading there. I'm pretty sure somewhere in there it's said something to the effect of if you want to appeal this. At that time, it was probably a notice of disagreement, and you could file that. But I skipped all that, right? Because I was the young me, right? Young, dumb. Oh, so instead of appealing it, threw my hands in the air, got frustrated with the VA, said, look, they don't care about me. They don't care about any of us. Screw them, screw everything, turned around, walked away, and went to work like any good veteran does, right? Went out there, started working, making money, supporting my family and all that good stuff. So I forgot about the VA completely. Didn't even think about them. Never came back into my mind. Didn't think about anything except for maybe the school piece and the VA loan a little bit. I did the VA loan and never utilized my Montgomery GI Bill. So out of all of it, I thought, well, at least I got a VA loan. That's good. I got a couple benefits in there. And moved along. Then after my 12-year break in service, right? So now it's been 12 years that I've missed because I never filed any sort of anything as far as an appeal was concerned. So that went away. 12 years goes by. I joined the Army National Guard. Then about maybe halfway through the National Guard or so, I was mortars again, and we're out training and something pops off, as we're, shooting and all that stuff, and something flew in my eye because I wasn't wearing my eye pro. And so anyway, something flew in my eye, gave me a corneal abrasion. My eye sucked, and ironically, check this out. So my eye is like swollen up, the inside, like the eyeball, the white part is like swollen and looking not good. And as I described it to the medic, it's like I'm underwater in a swamp looking through this eye. It's like green and things are floating around. And my other eye is like clear skies blue, right? That's the contrast difference. And he seriously said, well, take some Motrin. Of course, we joke about it, but right, here we are. My eyeball's swollen up and hurts, sensitive to light, not looking good. And it looks like I'm looking through swampy water. And he says to me, take some Motrin and get some good rest, and we'll see you in the morning. Okay, so I wait and follow the directions. Next day, it's not any better. Funny enough, we're doing a annual physical health assessment, and so now I'm going through that with one eye shut because it's so sensitive to the light. And we get to the part where there's the vision exam, and there's some 04, 05 there. Who's like, what's up with your eye? And I tell him, and then he's like, give me your first sergeant. So then that whole thing happened. And then I got out into the civilian world where they were like, oh my God, your eye's horrible. It's falling out of your face. And, they gave me a shot because the drops weren't enough, a steroid shot right above my eye. They take your eyelid, and they pull it up, and they take that needle, and they slide it right over your eyeball. And then they shoot it in with the steroids. And anyway, over the course of a couple days, it subsided, and things were starting to feel better, and, they were tracking it, and it was, things were getting better. But now I have this chronic iritis thing. It sounds fake, iritis, I know. It's like a uveitis. It's just an eye irritation thing that happens, and the best I can explain, it's kind of like a cold sore. Cold sores come and go, you get them a few times a year, whatever. My eye will get that crazy kind of swollen up, and, this bright lights, all that stuff, very frustrating. Got to take steroid drops and dilation drops and all that. So I thought, damn, I'm going to have to file a VA claim. I remember the pain last time. So the pain was horrible of filing a claim with the VA and being told that you don't rate. So, but now I'm older because now it's been 15 years or so since my filing from getting out of the Marine Corps. So I'm older, a little more, I guess, weathered. So I go ahead, I put together my claim, I dust off some of the old stuff, and I file it. So now this time I'm filing for a couple things. Filing for my eye. Then I thought, you know what, I'm going to file for my back again. You know, since I might as well just file for it again. So I filed for it again. So I filed for my back, and I filed for my eye, and I forgot about the heartburn, and I just filed that. And then, yep, sure enough, came back, and I'm like, wow, I'm 30%. Wow, excited. Super excited to start digging through it. And all of a sudden I look and I'm like 0% for my eyeball, which is really the thing that I wanted to get compensated for, because now I got this chronic issue. Now I look and I got 10% for my lower back and 10% for each extremity, kind of going down both of my legs. And I was irritated. I was actually pretty pissed because I thought to myself, well, shit. Now I look back and I'm going, well, now I missed out on 15 years because the VA denied me the first time. It's not like there's anything new for my back. And I got a 0% for my eye, which is the thing that's like, this new thing that's I got to deal with for the rest of my life. My eyeball is like a snow globe, got little things floating around in it. So I decided, you know what? That's it. I'm not going to put up with this again, because now it's the older me, right? So and the internet, right? So the internet, you have a lot more access to stuff than you did. You know, you had a lot more access to stuff in the early 2000s that you did in 1997. So 2000, what would it be? 2013-ish, 2013 when I filed my first real claim, because the very first one in 97 died. So anyway, so I had more access. So now I'm looking to file an appeal. So I started doing all the research, and at this time it was different than it is today. Back then you had to do what's called a notice of disagreement, and you had to go to a different channel, which is fine. So I found out in all my research and digging about DBQs, the disability questionnaires. I found out about diagnostic codes. I found out about the schedule of ratings with the VA, and I started doing all that. And I took the DBQ for eye conditions to my eye doctor, and I told him, I said, hey, look, I am submitting this information to the VA because my eyeball is jacked up, and I need you to fill this thing out so I can get reimbursed for my medical expenses from the VA, which is true, right? It's compensation for your medical expenses or for your medical conditions. So he did. Filled it out. I was there. We made sure that I had it all in there. I had all my information that I needed to have him regurgitate into that. And he wrote some extra things in there and got it all done. And I submitted that with my notice of disagreement. And sure enough, the VA comes back, and guess what? I go from a 0% on my eye to 60%, because now I did everything that I'm saying in these videos. Do the research, look at your schedule of ratings, do a DBQ, do those types of things, and set yourself up for success. Now, obviously, if you don't rate a 60% rating, you're not going to go get a 60% rating. If your eye condition is less bad, it's going to be a less rating, right? So that's just the nature of the beast. But whatever you should be rated for, you should get if you follow all the right steps. The problem is that people don't do that, and then they get rated low because they missed X, Y, or Z when really they should be rated over here. So with that, so now all of a sudden, now I got a 60% and 3 10s. Well, then I got, I had a few bites of that VA apple, and I realized, oh, well, it's not just injuries. You don't have to just get rated for injuries, I found out. What I realized was, you can be rated for things that were going to happen to you anyway, as long as you can show that they started in your military service. So that's when I started to realize things like migraine headaches. So I got rated for migraine. So I did another claim, right? So I did another claim for migraines. I did a claim for tinnitus. I have arthritis in my back. So my back condition, I went and got diagnosed for arthritis because there's arthritis that's now built up in my lower back, which is rateable. So was able to do that. Then I found out about secondary conditions, and I filed a claim for secondary condition for insomnia, and as well as radiculopathy, that going down each of the legs, and then I did all that, and at this point it was 6 claims. So at this point I filed 6 different claims, and I had 3 of them that I appealed. One was the eye, another one I can't remember what it was, and the other appeal that I did was for my migraines, for the rating. So both my eye condition and my migraines, I filed an appeal for each of them separately at different times for a higher rating, right? So ended up getting service connected for both, but at very low ratings, and I felt that they should be higher. Well, at the time, my migraines were 30%, so that wasn't a low rating for migraines. That's actually a pretty good rating, but I felt that as though that I could qualify for that 50% rating. And then my eye was at 0, which was very low. So filed those appeals. Appeal for the eye gets overturned, I get the 60%. Appeal for the migraines gets denied. So then I do more research and read everything, and I find out okay, I could take it to the Board of Appeals. So I took it to the Board of Appeals. I supplied more evidence and submitted it to the judge for them to look at it, and waited. At this point, I'm 90% rating total between all my conditions. So I'm at 90%, and I don't remember what my true score was, how it rounded to 90. But what I did know was that if my migraines got approved with the board, that my overall rating would then be 100%. And I was not sure what was going to happen. You never know until it happens, but I felt fairly good. But that's in Neverland, waiting for years to process. Then I realized, going through my records, I forgot about my GERD, my bad heartburn. I filed for it in 97, and they denied me, and I had documentation in my service records from the Marine Corps on heartburn and GERD. So let me refile for that. So I refiled for that, and I ended up getting rated for GERD, and that took me to 100%. Meanwhile, my migraines are still in Neverland waning, but I'm already at 100%. But here's the problem. All of my conditions are viewed as static, with the exception of GERD, which I had a future exam. That future exam was barring me from being permanent and total, because it could get better, right? Treatment, diet, all that stuff, it could go down. So meanwhile, I'm at 100%, which is a good place to be. Then the Board of Appeals comes back with their decision, and they approve it at 50%, which bumps me to 100% without the GERD. So now I do not need GERD to be at 100% rating. And my migraines are considered static. So now that my migraines are static and I'm at 100% with all of my static conditions, I petition the VA, ask them, notify them, whatever, that, hey, VA, you may have missed it, but all of these conditions equal 100% and they're all static. Can you make me permanent and total, please? They come back, hey, you're permanent and total. Now I qualify for CHAMP VA and Chapter 35, educational benefits. So those are like the 2 big key indicators that you're permanent and total. Now that I'm permanent and total, and really not even because I'm permanent and total, but because I'm at 100%, with my migraines being awarded through the board, the future exam for the GERD gets dropped off, because even if GERD goes to 0, it doesn't affect my overall rating. So the VA just drops those, because it's why waste the time and resources. So now I'm at 100% permitted in total, and it took 7 claims, 3 appeals. 1 appeal approved, 2nd denied, 3rd got pushed to, well, 2 were denied, and then 1 of them was pushed to the board for the final decision. So that's my story on how I got to 100%. What I wish I would have done differently would have been know about the schedule of ratings up front, know about what conditions can be rateable, which is basically anything. It doesn't have to be an injury. It can be an illness, a disease, whatever, as long as it's chronic in condition, chronic in nature. And I wish that I would have known that up front. And I wish that I would have knew about DBQs, because I did have some doctors write those, and I believe that those helped. And I would have probably filed for all of that up front, except for my eye, right? Because the eye happened in the National Guard, but everything else happened in the Marine Corps. So I could have filed for all of that stuff right out the gate in 97. And if they denied anything, I would have utilized the appeal process. And so that's the things that I would have done differently, or I wish I would have known and done differently. So with that, thanks a lot for watching. If you hung on, this was a long 21 minutes, so but I just thought I'd share the story. Thanks again. I appreciate each and every one of you. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.